Hey guys, Nails here. I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos lately of people showing off their collections and whatnot. I thought I'd toss mine in and kind of go over a quick overview of what I have and my interests and all that kind of stuff, and see if anybody be interested in more details or reviews or whatever. So I alphabetize everything in alphanumeric order, but I alphabetize them by Japanese title, not by American title. It just depends, but you'll notice a lot in my collection. I do have a lot of Moe stuff, but I don't collect like I used to. Like, I've been watching some videos, and I've noticed that a lot of people are, they're collecting a lot of stuff, but since most of it's Moe these days, it's like little girls and extremely young characters and stuff like that, and they, not just young, but extremely young, consisting of most of the animation today. It's really hard for me to buy anime like I used to, because most of the anime I enjoyed was stuff like Berserk and a lot of the stuff in the 90s and the 80s and stuff like that, like Bubblegum Crisis and stuff, and I really like that kind of stuff. The stuff that was more, older characters. But don't not to put off that I don't have any, of the younger Moe stuff. I do. But a lot of the stuff that I ended up buying were things where the Moe characters were put in more adult situations, like they were treated more like adults, or the situation was something that a little kid shouldn't be in, because the situation was more of an adult situation, or the comedy was more adult, but they're using kids for fun. Lucky Star is more of a Lucky Star is a really good example. Lucky Star is extremely Moe. It's all about Moe, and it's maybe the key series that brought in this whole Moe onslaught tsunami of anime recently. But it's also very intelligent. It's extremely intelligent. That's why it's so popular. People like the comedy in it and what it's depicting and how it's focusing on otaku and their viewpoints, and how they view each other and how their obsessions work and all that kind of stuff. And that's part of the fun of it. So that's most of the time you'll see me. Sometimes I do have some stuff where it's like Moe just for excessive nudity, or just the ecchi stuff, just extra, just lots of flashing and stuff. I don't have too much of that. I do have some of it, but not a lot. A good example would be like Dear S. That would be an example of one of those. It's definitely Moe, but it's not like really, really little kids. It's, it's more like older characters, but, most of it, the whole thing is just teasing and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of got out of that stuff after a while. So, okay, let's get started. So basically, yeah, we'll start from the beginning here. I don't know anything. I'm not really going to go over all the titles. I'm just kind of going to put my camera past all of them so that you can see all the titles. And if I see anything interesting, I'll just, kind of call it out or whatever. But yeah, a lot of this stuff I've been collecting for a really long time, especially the DVDs. Yeah, this is my Akira one. This is the steel case special edition Akira. You can still buy these on eBay. They're not really hard to get or anything like that. When they first came out with them, you think, oh man, it's so rare, and yeah, it's not rare at all. The Blu-ray. I'm not replacing everything on Blu-ray. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we got to get everything and repurchase everything on Blu-ray. The things I'm purchasing on Blu-ray, or repurchasing on Blu-ray, I should say, are things either I didn't have and wanted to get eventually, and I just never got them on DVD, so I'll get them on Blu-ray now, or they're just so good they should be on Blu-ray, like Appleseed. I have this is the steel case, the original DVD limited collector's edition thing that they released. I wanted this on Blu-ray, but I don't think they put it out. I'd have to check, but every time I look, they don't. They put the second Appleseed out on Blu-ray. But this is the kind of thing, it's a CG movie, it's high res. I don't know why they don't have this out on Blu-ray yet. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, so Area 88, a lot of people have seen this. This one really caught my attention just because of all the techno, or trance, not techno, all the trance music, and a really popular trance that they licensed. It's amazing that they did that. That was really cool, and it goes really well with all the jet fighting and stuff like that. Argent Soma, let's see, Armitage, this is really, really old school, man. I owned this on VHS a long time ago. God, this is like old school. Like when I think about back to like when anime was very, very first really coming out in America, not like, I'm not talking like Animigo days, you know, like when they were first starting back in the 80s, you know, like when Bubblegum Crisis and like Animigo was releasing those first titles, and MD Geist and all them releasing those very first titles, US manga back then. I'm more talking about, you know, when you started seeing the stuff on the shelf in VHS, like really started to see it on the shelf, especially at things like Media Play back when they still existed. Music Lane Group and all their stores. What else did they have? They had Sam Goodies. Yeah, you'd see it. And they started trickling out. But I mean, we're talking like, you know, the amount of anime they had in the shelves back then. This would be about 1995, 1994. I don't remember the exact time. I remember back then I'd walk into the store and the section would be about this big, and that's all the anime. And it wouldn't be spine to spine. It'd just be a couple VHS tapes, and that would be it. That'd be all they had, and that was all the anime there was. And then they'd have another rack that would have like laser discs on them, believe it or not, some anime laser discs. And man, if I'd known I'd get a laser disc player eventually, I would have bought those. But I remember them laser discs were really expensive back then. So yeah, we'll go through. I just bought this thing just because it's Ghibli, and I really like Ghibli. They're awesome. I've been to Ghibli Museum, which is really awesome in Japan. It was very, very cool to go there. That's one hell of an experience. But yeah, I'm a big fan of all their work. So I try to get all their films. I don't have all of them, but as much as I'd like to import stuff, I found that, and I did for a while, I was importing everything for a while, and I found that I need to stop because none of my friends could watch any of it, and I had to end up repurchasing it anyway, so to save money. And if any of you have bought anything in Japan, you'll know that stuff in Japan is really expensive, so you don't want to do that. So, you know, you want to save money where you can, because you don't want to put everything into this. Bakuretsu Hunters, awesome series. This is awesome. I can't remember the Japanese title for this. Bakuretsu Tenshi, that's what it was. Yeah. It's called Burst Angel in America. Nuku Nuku. This is the original TV series. I don't think the TV series predated the OVA, but the OVA this is the one that was really famous and did extremely well in both Japan and America. And then I think they made the TV series afterwards. I'm not sure why I have the TV series ahead of this. I tried to put them in chronological order. I might have put it in here because I checked it out and I found that the TV series came out before the OVA. That's possible. But I'm pretty sure the OVA was the very first release for Nuku Nuku. Nuku Nuku Dash, which was kind of okay. Sorry, I'm not completely looking at the camera here, so you'll see me pan down a little bit sometimes. Berserk. This is the old. They came out with this for a little while, but this was one of those things where you buy Volume 1 with the Box of War thing. I think they released the whole thing later with everything in it, but I never actually got all of them. I think I just got a couple. Volumes in it. So yeah, I got like the first couple volumes, but yeah, I got Volume 1 and Volume 2, and then this thing came out. Like, I don't know, it's probably one of those times where I was short on money and stuff, and then they just came out with the whole damn series on a collector's thing, and I was like, shit, I'll just buy that. So there's no real rules in collecting anime. I mean, you look at the big picture. The big picture is when you buy stuff like, what's a good example? Like this. No, over here. No, not that. Well, yeah, this is a good example. So when you buy stuff like this, and this is like a 1 hour TV special movie, Macross 7, and this is the actual official Japanese DVD. They always have the prices on here somewhere. Buy stuff like this. If you look at the original yen price on these, let me see, what's this say? Oh yeah, 5,000 yen. So that's about $45. Though with the currency right now, it's probably more like $50 or maybe $55 these days. But that's for a 1 hour movie. It's like $50, and that's the list price. You know, you can get discounts in Japan. Like if you go to Amazon.co.jp and stuff, you can get discounts. But man, and even when you're in Japan looking at, you know, used DVDs and stuff, they're not the prices are, I mean, you're lucky to get 5 to 10% off of anything. It's pretty, it hurts your wallet a lot. Anime is really expensive in Japan, and there's not much you can do about that. That's just how it is. So once you come to that realization, you realize with how cheap American animation is, just list price of American animation is so, or Japanese anime in America, the domestic releases are so cheap. And then 99% of the time you get a discount on top of that, either, you know, the sales that you wait for or whatever. You know, and Amazon always has stuff on sale. You never buy anything off Amazon for the actual price ever. Just amazing. I also want to give a shout out to Right Stuff. I'll be honest, about 80 to 90% of this entire collection I bought from Right Stuff. You know, I'll be honest. There's some rare things I bought that I just couldn't find in Right Stuff. I had to special order from other websites or get on eBay and stuff like that, just so I could finish a collection or stuff or something. But most everything on here I got from Right Stuff, because they without a doubt, even today they have, especially when they do their 40% off sales for, you know, specific vendors and stuff. They have the best deals without a doubt. So, okay, so yeah, here's Blue Submarine 6. A lot of the younger people probably won't remember this, but everybody knows who Gonzo is, because they're awesome. Gonzo's the best. But this is Gonzo's very, very first studio release once they formed the studio. Their very first TV series. It's pretty cool, because Gonzo's always been famous for doing that early mixing CG animation with 2D animation. Very, very well. Obviously, when you watch this, it doesn't seem as seamless as it does these days. But, I mean, by the time they got to Gantz, they pretty much perfected it. So it's pretty awesome. This is an import. It's just something... And the main reason I bought this, the Japanese release of this, is so that I could get the widescreen. Because the American release, the American version of this, unfortunately, is full screen. And the quality is not as good. And I like widescreen movies, so... but I'll be honest, I only have, I think the U.S. movies are the only ones that are full screen, and I only bought the R movie on full screen. But yeah, this is the official R DVD. Hopefully they come out with some. It would be really nice is if Japan came out with a full Sailor Moon Blu-ray set, like they remastered all Sailor Moon, like they're doing with Dragon Ball Kai. That would be awesome. I would kill for them to do that. That would be the best thing ever. So Sailor Moon, Bishoujo Sailor Moon, Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon, sorry. That's why they're in the B's. I'm a big Sailor Moon fan. I mean, like, you don't even know. Like, honestly, Sailor Moon is what got me into all of this. Like, my friend was he was big into Akira, and he was watching animation way before me. One of my really good local friends I went to high school with, and he was big into Akira, and he had a lot of old stuff. What else did he have? He had Akira and a lot of U.S. Manga Corp stuff, like Dominion Tank Police and stuff like that. He had a lot of old stuff like that, and that's when I was going to high school, so that was back in 1994, 93, around there. So he had that stuff on VHS back then. So, and I liked watching them, I enjoyed them, I appreciated them, but I didn't really get into them. It wasn't until later that I broke my arm, and I was stuck at home and I couldn't work and stuff like that because I drove for a living. And so while I was recuperating, they had Sailor Moon on the boob tube every morning. In America, they started broadcasting Sailor Moon, and I didn't even know it existed. I mean, I think I'd seen it for like a second when I was visiting my parents' house. When Sailor Moon first started airing, I mean, I was never really a big fan of dubs back then. But I didn't know any better back then. But Sailor Moon in the end is, I mean, it's what really, I mean, it gave me a lot of motivation back then. And what really triggered everything wasn't so much Sailor Moon itself, the American version, because the American version was actually really crappy. It was looking Sailor Moon up on the internet, which back then was all dial-up, and realizing that what the Japanese version of Sailor Moon was like. That there's, the Japanese version is completely different, and, seeing the real fans that appreciated the original creation of Sailor Moon and stuff like that. And I got to see what Sailor Moon was really like, the actual Japanese thing, not the American pinked out, little girlified, series that got, kind of completely redone from the original.